currently, the history books, as written by the respected and official archaeologists, say that this ruin was built 200 to 300 years ago by the moving Bantu people from the north, a small family of 15 or 17 people. Okay, and then you got to say to yourself, okay, guy, what drugs are you on? Okay, really, just okay. So they're migrating through here, and they just quickly built this. So let's just look at the statistics here, right? You can see it. When we go inside, you realize how much bigger it is. But let me just give you some of the stats.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So first of all, I measured the circumference. It's about 100 meters in circumference.
Okay.
Then I took an average width of the wall, took an average height of the wall, what it would have been originally, and I worked out there's about 500,000 stones here. Okay. Now, you're not going to have, first of all, the stones are not from here. They come from the river all the way down the valley. Right, so a small family of migrating people of 15 to 17 people, just do the maths. They ain't going to build this in a lifetime.
Yes.
It's just not going to happen. If they stay here for the rest of their lives, they're not going to build this. But this, unfortunately, because they're archaeologists and they're doctors and professors, that's what stands, and that's what goes into our history books. So along comes the next generation of archaeologists, and they refer to the stuff written previously, and they keep regurgitating the same bullshit.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It is so infuriating. I just want to slap these people and wake them up. So just come with me. Let me take you on a little journey of discovery, and let's think about this and apply some logic.
And each individual stone is actually quite big and heavy.
Well, they are. The average weight of these stones is about 20 kilos.
Wow.
You know, these are not small stones. I'd say probably between about 10 and 30 kilos. That probably, some of them are even heavier than that. On the ruins at the top, even higher up, we got stones that weigh a ton.
Yeah.
You know, we got stones that are like a ton, and then you go, okay, hold on, and then the story gets even better, Kerry. Then they tell us, well, those ones up there were built by the women and children. I'm not kidding you. This is just one of those strange anomalies. There's a little circle with no entrance outside the big circle. Okay,
right.
So you say to yourself, okay, well, who's going to build a circle of stones with no entrance for what purpose? And it's when you start realizing that the stones ring like bells. I mean, listen to that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what you've got in essence, you've got stones that are like the strings of a piano.
Wow.
Right? Now imagine if you this is a broken car. We're looking at a broken car. It doesn't work. You know, it's like, so people come here and say, well, if you say that this is an energy generator, show me, prove to me that it works. It's like me taking you to a scrapyard and telling you, if you've never seen a car before, and telling you, oh, those were used to be cars that used to drive on the road. You say, oh, really? Well, prove it to me. Well, it's a broken car. You know, we don't even know what components went in there. But it certainly points to that.
Yeah,
now,
interesting
here's
analogy.
one of those, remember those pointed tools in the museum that I showed you? Well, here's another one of those. Okay, look at this beautiful one.
Yes.
Okay, now this is clearly not an accident.
Right.
And once again, we got something that rings like a bell. A reddish color grows back, the patina.
I see.
Originally, when you break it, it's black like this.
Oh, I see.
Black,
that's the fresh, and the red is the patina.
Eventually the patina will grow back, the skin will grow back, so it looks like it never broke. The current research that I've got on patina growth, on this particular patina, tells us it takes between 5,000 and 10,000 years for this patina, or I think 5,000 years actually on this particular one, for the patina, for the first microscopic layer of the patina to start forming. So now we're dealing with chunks of 5,000 years. This is not something that happens, you know. So that's why when I show you a patina of 2 millimeters on a rock that's been manipulated, you know that that's, you know, 100,000 years plus. I'm beginning to believe that they use these pointed, molded or shaped stones to focus and channel the energy, just like a laser beam does in a, or a crystal does in a laser beam.
What is this part? What do you call it?
Well, the town is called Waterval Boven, which is a Dutch word for upper waterfall, or waterfall at the top. And then it's got a second half, Waterval Onder, which is a town just below the waterfall, about a drop of about 700 meters into the valley, which is known as the Lowveld of the province of Mpumalanga in South Africa.
He took me in a helicopter all over the ruins. I've been to Adam's Calendar and seen the stones and felt their energy, and this whole story is really going to break open very soon across the world, I believe, and you're going to have a lot more experts coming to you to talk to you about what's really going on here, which is really amazing.
Well, thanks very much. At this stage, the experts have been very on the lean side. We've had to really look hard to find the so-called experts, but it's interesting when we do find people that really are out-of-the-box thinkers in a professional capacity, whether they're archaeologists or geologists or astronomers. We get some absolutely mind-blowing information from them, which always flies in the face of what the textbooks tell us and what is held very dearly by the conservative establishment, or the universities and the official educational institutions of South Africa, about the history of South Africa and the origins of humankind and the things that we're dealing with here.
Right. So you've actually gotten emails from some of those academics that are less than flattering, shall we say, towards your work.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's when I have tried to reach out to the guys that are linked to the tertiary institutions, their response is very dismissive and very, looking down on us as if we're a lower class citizen with, we shouldn't be meddling in their, we shouldn't be meddling in their special area of interest because they're the experts in this. And yet at the same time, they haven't studied our work, they haven't really looked at what we do or what we've discovered, and they haven't even been to many of these sites. And at the same time, they're prepared to go on record and make statements as experts on our discoveries when they haven't had any knowledge or information about it themselves.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a fascinating journey. I've been here for about a week now, and I have to say that there's so many ruins around here. It's just amazing that it's gone undercover without discovery by the academics, by archaeologists, etc. to Adam's Calendar itself, which is really a significant site. And as you and you could probably go into this here, the fact that it's on the 31st parallel and lines up with the Great Pyramid in Giza, and there's another site right on the way. What is it? That
Great Zimbabwe ruins.
Right.
Yeah. So the 31 east longitudinal line seems to be very important in ancient civilizations here, and that's really interesting because we've got, as you say, we've got Adam's Calendar, the Great Zimbabwe ruins, and then we got Nabta Playa as well in southern Egypt, and then the Great Pyramid, all along the 31-degree east longitudinal line. And as I mentioned last night in our presentation, the numeric, ancient languages had very specific structures, and they were structured, the alphabet was structured according to a power system and a numeric system of value that was given to each letter. And the word El is, or Elohim, or El, is actually the numeric value in Hebrew for that is 31. So I guess they're trying to tell us that these were built by the gods of the Bible, the Elohim of the Sumerian tablets and the Bible, which I believe are the same, the one and the same. And as you already know, I believe that they are the Anunnaki.
Right, absolutely.
And their number was 31.
Okay. I do know that the pyramids themselves that are behind Adam's Calendar in the distance, that haven't been analyzed as pyramids, but for all intents and purposes, they do look like pyramids. It's
actually the pyramids that you're referring to, just to put into context for your viewers, is that Adam's Calendar is aligned with the north, south, east, west cardinal points of planet Earth. There is a 3 1/4 degree deviation, which is something we can get to, which is really interesting because that suggests that Adam's Calendar was built at some point in time in history where the alignment of planet Earth was different to what it is today, the axis of planet Earth. And well, the evidence is there. You can't, scrape it under the carpet. There it is, 3 1/4 degree deviation. But it's actually not the calendar itself, it's the pyramids that we believe are pyramids down in the valley that also align with Adam's calendar and the rise of Orion's belt, along the 3 Orion's belt stones that you've seen. The pyramids line up with that rise of Orion's belt further down in the valley. And it's actually the pyramids, what we believe are pyramids, that are along that 31-degree line. So it's the Adam's pyramids, Great Zimbabwe ruins, Nabta Playa, and the Great Pyramid of Giza that are all in this perfectly straight line. That line, however, does not run exactly parallel to the 31 degrees. It crosses slightly over, which once again suggests that there may have been some sort of a crustal displacement. Well, I assume that whoever built it didn't make mistakes. Okay, these guys in the past, they knew what they were doing. And if they wanted to put things in a straight line, they did. And they clearly put these structures in a very specifically straight line along the 31 degrees. But it crosses it over from a few seconds to the west in the south to a few seconds to the east in the north, in a straight line.
I mean, other than the psychics that you've been talking to, right, and the channelers, other than that, you don't have any way to document or prove the Anunnaki are behind all of this. Isn't that right? Other than Zachariah Sitchin, and is it the Sumerian tablets as well?
Sumerian tablets, but also let's look at some of the interesting anomalies and indicators that give us information. When we first saw the mounds at Adam's calendar and realized that they look like pyramids, we obviously, well, specifically me, I started getting very interested in them and realized that they must be pyramids because they're just so completely out of place. You saw them yourself.
Yes.
And so I thought to myself, well, let's test this in some weird way. What kind of tests can we apply to this? Now, and it was actually a group of psychics that I brought that were a humanities interest group that came from 12 different countries from all over the world. I took them on a tour of Adam's calendar, and one of them turned around and told me that the pyramids are on an extended golden mean spiral that starts at Adam's calendar. And as that person told me that information, it just came flooding in. And I knew exactly which 2 points we should use. And I went and did that, and we drew the golden mean spiral between the center of Adam's calendar, the 2 calendar stones, up to the stone altar, which I believe is the grave of Dumuzi.
Okay.
And you start that as the starting point of the golden mean spiral, and you start drawing it out, and guess where it ends? It ends right between the 2 hills that we think are pyramids. Now, that is, just too much coincidence in that for me.
Yeah.
As we know, these ancient cultures and civilizations knew a great deal about the flow of energy, the Fibonacci sequence, the 5 factor, the 1.618, and all these golden mean spirals. And they structured, it seems to us now, the more research we do into Egyptology, into the other ancient sacred sites around the world, it seems that most of these sites have been structured along these golden mean spiral and the flow of energy channels. And time again, the psychics tell me things that are just really amazing. And many of the things are, first of all, that Adam's calendar was built by Enki, or commissioned by Enki, that it was where humans were originally cloned, the human race, or the Lulu Amelu, and so forth.
And then on top of it, we had a geologist there at the site.
By the time we took off in the helicopter and he saw it from the air, he just turned around at us and in a very excited voice said, "There's no way this was natural formation. These stones were brought here by humans. These stones were put in the ground purposely for a specific reason, to build a calendar by humans." That's it. And he risked his reputation by coming out as bluntly as that. And that, I find that's amazing.
Right, absolutely.
And he's actually the second geologist that has done that.
Okay.
The other geologist, Peter Hobson, is actually come on board with us into the Makamati Foundation as our sort of